Edward Leos. Welcome to Travel Talk, filmed at the Peachtree Rose Marketing Studios and hosted by the Hotel Guide publisher, Edward Leos.
Good morning, everybody. Edward Leos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. Really excited about today's guest, having Leslie Durso on the call. We were talking offline, has an amazing story already, so I'm really excited about sharing that with our guests. So as I always like to do, I always like to have you, Leslie, tell a little bit about yourself so that our guests know who they're listening to. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm doing really fantastic. Yes, I am a plant-based chef and consultant and avid traveler.
Oh, traveling's obviously the thing that connected us. One of our international board of advisors, Scott Eddy's the one who connected us. So I'm really excited and thankful for that. I know you've done a little bit of traveling even right now, where you are. So
it never stops. The travel
never stops.
Really never stops.
It never stops. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got to where you are, what you're doing now, and then we'll chat a little bit about the personal side as well.
Sure, absolutely. Born and raised in California girl through and through, and decided to stop eating meat when I was 7 years old. Wow. Never thought it would become a profession or career for me. I spent many years on television, on a soap opera, and most notably co-hosting the Bill Nye Show with him as Leslie the Lab Girl for a few seasons. And then after that show, he really convinced me that I needed to go into food education because there just was nobody doing it. And so I went out, became a chef, and have been teaching and cooking ever since. And I am now the plant-based chef for the Four Seasons. You can catch me down in Punta Mita most of the time at the Four Seasons in Punta Mita, which is the most plant-based friendly 5-star resort in the world. Wow. And it's very exciting. And so that's who I am. That's what I do. And so now I travel the world talking to people about eating healthier, eating whole food, plant-based, not necessarily convincing everyone to go vegan, but trying to convince people to eat a little healthier and a little bit more fruits and vegetables.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I'm a big wellness fan myself. And it's so important. I always tell people you're either going to be proactive with your health or you're going to be reactive with your health later on. Either way, the payment's going to be due. And so, I'm like you, I choose to focus on being healthy on the front end as best you possibly can.
Yeah, of course.
We are in the hospitality industry, so sometimes it becomes a little bit of a challenge, but tell me what has been the greatest challenge in educating people on the ways of just eating better and wellness in general?
I think the biggest challenge with training chefs, first of all, is that they're in culinary school, they're not really taught how to design a plate around vegetables. And so coming in and teaching that is a totally different concept that people have to wrap their head around. But then also getting over the hump of normalizing vegan food and how normal vegan food is and how people eat vegan food all over the world every single day and don't think about it. Falafel and hummus is vegan, spaghetti and tomato sauce is vegan, peanut butter and jelly is vegan. And so you're eating vegan food all the time. You just have to take this weird word stigma off of the culture and off the cuisine.
No, I agree. I think what happens is we become our own worst enemies. And, people get stuck with these labels and titles and all this stuff. And it makes things harder. When I'm coaching people, one of the big things I always talk about is how do you eliminate hurdles? And when you eliminate the hurdles, you're closer to your success. And so this is one of them. I never really thought about that. But, when people think, oh, vegan, oh, my God, that's a whole lifestyle change. But you just name three to four things that aren't.
Yeah. You don't go to Mexico to order the vegan chips and guacamole. You just go to order the chips and guacamole.
Correct. No, definitely. So when you're seeing wellness and wellness travel just really taking off, obviously post-pandemic, wellness travel has just gone to the next level. How important is what you do to what wellness travel means to people nowadays?
Well, very important, because at the end of the day, when you're going to a property to go relax and go get in touch with yourself and you want to feel better after your stay at a property, food plays such a huge component in that. You can do all the exercising in the world. And if you're eating deep fried, big, fatty, awful food for you the entire time, you're not going to feel a difference. But if you're able to eat clean, whole food, high protein meals, you're going to feel so much better at the end of that trip. And so I like to kind of say that it's like an accidental way. Like I like making food that sounds super indulgent and super wonderful, and you're having it and you still feel really good after you have it. That's the best way for people to feel like they've indulged, but also feel really good.
Yeah. And I think that's the biggest thing, because I can actually be a comfort eater myself, which is one thing that I've always got to worry about as well. But, it's that thing, is the food going to clog you or is it going to cleanse you kind of feel?
Yes.
And, when you finish a meal and you're like, wow, I feel full, but I feel pretty good about it, as opposed to the opposite where, I feel full, I need to take a nap kind of thing.
I always say every forkful of food you take is either adding or subtracting minutes to your life, and it's your decision which one you want to do.
And I love that. I think I love that, because I think it puts people responsibility for their choices.
Yes.
And it's a John Maxwell principle, which I'm a coach like. It's the law of the mirror, taking responsibility for your decisions and what you decide to choose. But I love that you have simple decisions, and the simple decisions that you're making are very easy to incorporate. So I love what's going on there. Anything that's coming up in 2025 or beyond, whether you personally or with the Four Seasons, that you can mention?
Very exciting things are happening, with the push of the White Lotus as well, which unless you're living under a rock, know that it's filmed at the Four Seasons, and they are going to do a fourth season. And so there's lots of exciting things happening with the Four Seasons brand. They've launched Naviva, which is their new kind of adults only all-inclusive properties, which I had some hands in the menu creating there. It's very exciting. Personally, I have a lot of exciting projects coming up that I can't really talk about, but if you follow me on social media, you'll be the first to know. But I will say a lot of it is carryover from 2024. And I co-wrote a book last year called Eat Like a Girl, which ended up on New York Times bestseller for a while. And so I'll just say there's a lot of continuations of projects from 24 into 25.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you're teasing us with great things coming. So hopefully we'll be one of the people. Well, we'll have you back on the show. We fully can announce everything. That would be something that would be incredible. You have that invitation from us for sure. So that's great. Let's switch a little bit from the business side of things. And I always like to ask our guests some of the personal side from travel, because we're a travel podcast. I think it's always important. Where do our guests like to go? What have been some of your favorite travel destinations that you've been to?
I know you told me you were going to ask this question, and it's such a hard question to answer because I've been to so many incredible places. I'll say some of my favorites that I return to quite often are South Africa. I absolutely love the spirit and the soul of Africa, and just being with those animals and nature is just such an incredible experience that I hope everyone gets to have at some point in their lives. As far as Europe goes, I'm an Italian, and I just love the Italian coast. Is such a special place to me. I go almost every year. It's just ultimate relaxation to me. And then I also love the East. I love Thailand is the land of smiles, one of my favorite places to travel through. And the food is outrageous. It's so good.
Do you find yourself traveling to locations with the food in mind?
100%. I mean, when you're a big foodie, who wants to go somewhere where you're going to eat like crummy, ucky food? One of my biggest bucket list items is I'm dying to go up and see the Northern Lights. I really, really want to. But all I've heard is how bland the food is up there, and how it's going to be a struggle to find, plants. And so I might just go and bring a bunch of food with me.
Do your own.
I've done many times before. I've traveled extensively through China and have brought quite a bit of food with me.
Oh, wow. I can only imagine. So bucket list is the Northern Lights. What else is on your bucket list for travel?
I think a lot of kind of the mysterious world. I want to see Easter Island. I want to go to Antarctica. I want to go back to the Galapagos. I shot a special with National Geographic on the Galapagos, and I really want to get back and explore more of it.
Oh, that sounds amazing. In fact, you're my second guest out of 80 something that has said Antarctica is on their bucket list. So that's pretty cool. I guess whoever gets to get there first, we want to know about it.
All right.
On our podcast, that's for sure. Which is great. Travel has so many dynamics, and I love the fact when we were talking offline, the importance of food and what food plays in your travel experiences. Experiential travel is one of the top and hottest trends happening in the world today. And so I love how you combine the wellness aspect with also the experiential side, because food is an experience, right?
Absolutely. And look, I'm not someone that says you can't indulge ever in life, but like if I'm going to indulge, I want it to be a really good indulgence and I want it to
Yeah.
be something that I'm going to remember forever. And so if I'm at a French patisserie that happens to have vegan options, I'm going to go try every single one of them. And so I don't want you to think that you need to travel restricted,
Yeah.
but it's just the idea that in your everyday life, you're choosing to eat a lot of healthy foods.
Yeah.
But yes, every now and then it is great to indulge in, especially when you're in a different culture and you really want to experience all of it.
Well, it's all about balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I think that's what people need to understand. Life's about a balance, and it's almost like a dance. And, so you can always have those options to be able to do those things. And I love your perspective on how you really focus on achieving that through all of your travels. Any last final thoughts with regards to travel tips or things people should be looking for when they're traveling with regards to food?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a dietary restriction, which look, dietary restrictions affect 1 in 4 Americans with food allergies. And so if you are one of those people, it's really important to ahead of time scope out the restaurants. There's a lot of really great resources. Message me on Instagram if it's somewhere I've been. I'm happy to share my knowledge with you. And then also, especially if someone has a severe allergy, I always say to print out a little card in the language of the country that you're going to that says all of your restrictions on it and that they're actually allergies. And so make sure that you can be taken care of because you don't ever want that language barrier to be a reason why you're getting sick.
No,
And
definitely.
let the hotel know ahead of time, especially if you're staying at a Four Seasons or a like hotel. I mean, they are so accommodating and able to deal with just about anything that you want. Even if it's not an allergy, if you are trying to stay away from sugar and don't want junk food in your room, tell them to take all of it out of the mini bar so you don't even see it. And so it's not even there. It's not even an option. They'll do it. They'll do whatever you want.
It's amazing because you're the very first person and everyone I've ever talked to in 32 years that said, you should just tell the hotel to do that. Like, it's so simple, but yet why haven't we done that? Because you're right. If it's not in front of you, you don't have access to it. It's really hard to have it because you got to go out. You got to go out of your way to get it.
Right. And especially, if you tell, like, at least with the hotels that I work with, I mean, if you come in and you say, I have this allergy, we're going to go out of our way to make sure that you're accommodated. If your child has a gluten allergy, we've got, the pastry team is going to prepare you some gluten-free desserts that are going to make your child feel like they're having the best experience and they're having the exact same experience that everybody else is having. But it's really just awareness. You can't really show up to dinner and be like, hi, I'm a gluten-free, soy-free vegan who doesn't eat this, this, and this. You're going to throw off the chefs in the kitchen. But if you tell them ahead of time, they'll be more than happy to prepare something for you.
No, I love that. I love what you're doing at the Four Seasons. I love what you're personally doing to help make this world a better and healthier place. So as we're wrapping up here, what's the best way for people to connect with you or the Four Seasons as well?
Well, obviously you can come to a Four Seasons. And if you come to any of mine, please let me know. I would love to make sure that we take extra good care of you. The best way of reaching me really is social media. I love social media. I love interacting with everyone. I try and answer every single DM that comes in as long as they're appropriate. And I just think it's a really great way to connect with people all over the world. So you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I'm literally on all of the things, and it's just my name, Leslie Durso. So I make it easy for you to find me everywhere.
That is pretty easy to find. In fact, what we'll do is we'll put your handles in the comments section when everything goes live and comes out. But Leslie, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on our Travel Talk podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Edward. It's been a really great one.
It's going to be great. To all of our listeners out there, please, you know the drill. Continue to follow us at thehotelguide.com. Subscribe to our magazine and newsletter there, but also share. This is some great information that Leslie was bringing today, really about balance. And if you can achieve those balances in your life, but also take that with you on travel, it's even better. So until next time, travel, make memories, and we'll talk soon. Take care, everybody.